Welcome back, everyone, to Let's Talk About Sleep. Here's the book. Amazon link to that is in the description. This video and these videos are for educational purposes only, which is important because today it's the end of the month, which means questions answered. So a lot of stuff to go over. Thank you for everybody who interacted. Keep them coming. I want you guys to interact with each other. Make this like a community. But here's the questions and comments from this past month, which we'll go over today. All right. So first up is a couple questions on my fatal familial insomnia video. If you remember, that's a condition extremely, extremely, extremely rare. Okay, so I want to make this very, very clear. But people are asking about this, and Ashley writes, "Please help. My mom has been in search for a neurologist or any doctor willing to help her, but they all leave her unattended. She's going through insomnia, 3 months in, barely eat, doesn't sleep. She's gotten many medications, none work." Yeah, Ashley, this is it's definitely concerning and sounds like she needs. She may need high psychiatric hospitalization. We sometimes see that in very, very severe cases, but saying that this is fatal familial insomnia, I can't. From the information you're telling me, it doesn't sound like it is. Again, 25 cases have been reported in literature since in human history, so it's extremely, extremely rare for somebody to have this condition. Plus, there'd be many other symptoms that go along with it. This does not sound like fatal familial insomnia. This sounds like very, very severe regular insomnia. Okay, but like I said, I would consider maybe a psychiatric hospitalization. You got to talk to your doctor though about that. Okay, good luck to your mom. Georgiana, same video, writes, "I think I have this. I've not been able to sleep for 2 weeks. Feels like I'm asleep but being aware of everything that goes on around me." Yeah, Georgiana, I'm sorry to hear that as well. Again, guys, I really don't think this is fatal familial insomnia. I want to make that very clear. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but this would be, there would be many, many other symptoms. There would be, frankly, you would not be able to write an email if that really was what's going on, fatal familial insomnia. These are both very, very severe cases of insomnia, which are serious. Don't get me wrong. They're not, but fatal familial insomnia, people are, their cognition goes and they can't function. They die soon. That's not what's going on here. This is very severe insomnia, and like I said, you may need psychiatric hospitalization, but I would not designate this as a FFI right now. All right. And Ashley writes back to that, and my mom was going through the same. Yeah, I think in both cases, guys, you definitely need to get this addressed, but I would go in the psychiatric realm first. All right, I would consider that first. I'm sorry, and good luck to you. On my questions answered from February, from last month, DM writes, your channel is very useful to medical students. Well, thank you, DM. I hope that you guys get something out of this. SM writes, interesting channel, thank you. How about sleep tracking or fitness trackers? Are they accurate for capturing sleep stages? Good question. My opinion on sleep trackers is this: if they help you to pay more attention to your sleep and become more cognizant of, okay, I should go to bed now, my tracker is telling me I'm not getting enough sleep or whatever, in that regard, fine. But as far as anything that I'm going to use from it, the technology is not good enough yet for me to really base any diagnosis or treatment on that. What I am more interested in when people come to see me is their subjective report. Do you feel tired? Do you feel like your sleep is disrupted? That's more meaningful to me than what a fitness tracker shows. But I'm not going to say that they're not useful. They are for you. Okay? Good question. On my upper airway resistance syndrome, that was a few years back. A couple years back. I should make another video on that. Jake writes, is UARS recognized in the ASM guidelines? Yes, it is a known condition. It's in the ICSD, which is the International Classification of Sleep Disorders. I'm asking because I have all the classical symptoms. However, my sleep study comes back negative for sleep apnea. I'm thinking it's because I have UARS. Very possibly. Not a lot of sleep specialists I have found are very familiar with this. The place I trained at, my mentor was a maven for UARS, so I'm very familiar with it. You may want to ask them specifically about that, and I would say this: UARS is more so going to come on in a in-lab test as opposed to a home test, so that may be another issue as well. Okay. Jennifer writes on my idiopathic hypersomnia video, "Thank you. What are your thoughts about Zywave, and do I prescribe it?" I think Zywave is great medicine. I prescribe it regularly. Actually, the video before this, entitled "Let's Talk About Zywave," should hopefully help you. Yes, I think it's very, very helpful and it's very useful. Good question. Also, Jennifer writes about, do we ever, in IH, do we ever reach REM? I ask because I dream sometimes and always thought that we dream within REM sleep. Yeah, Jennifer, good question. We do, or you guys do who have IH, you will get into REM sleep. The issue with IH, though, is that you get a lot of N3 or non-REM stage 3 sleep. So that's why you get that sleep inertia. So you guys are champion sleepers. There's not, there's nothing bad about the sleep itself other than you need a lot of it and you kind of wake up with that sleep inertia, which is why a medication like Zywave can be helpful. But yes, you do get into REM sleep. DM writes, my Let's Talk About Medieval Sleep. Can't wait for more medieval trends, weight loss, dentistry, and more. Yeah, right. That'll be coming down the road. On my Let's Talk About Sleep medications, Trazodone, Janet writes, I use amitriptyline for fibromyalgia and insomnia, but recently it stopped working. Can I add Trazodone to help with sleep? Is it okay to take both at lower doses? Probably it's okay, but you definitely want to have a discussion with your doctor on that. The reason why is both of those medications have serotonin effects, and one of the things that we're concerned about when we combine serotonin medications is this thing called serotonin syndrome, which is admittedly very rare, where the body can kind of respond to too much serotonin and can lead to muscle stiffness and fevers in severe cases and bad stuff neurologically in very, very severe and very rare cases. But that's kind of the danger of combining them. Typically at low doses, I do that myself for my patients. It's usually not a problem, but definitely talk to your doctor about that. On my sleep inertia video, Homo Unsapiens, great name, right? Says, let's talk about capitalism and mental disease. Yeah, that's a question for another channel, perhaps. And on my daylight savings video, which just happened, SM writes, looks like we may not be doing this for much longer. Actually, it's gone. Daylight savings time has been eliminated. So it was an antiquated notion. Frankly, I really don't serve much of a purpose now. So maybe an interesting adjustment if it really does end up happening. Yeah, I mean, I think for younger people, it probably won't make a difference. But for those of us who grew up with daylight savings time, it'll be interesting. But as I said before, it's we're a sleep-deprived society, so really there's no need to do this. And hopefully, what I'm hoping for is that there's less car accidents the Monday after daylight savings time, because that was a big deal. And I think that's it. So, good questions, guys. Some of you folks out there really are struggling, especially with the really bad insomnia. So I hope that you get help. And if it comes to you're thinking about hurting yourself or God forbid killing yourself, there's suicide prevention hotlines, and mental health is extremely important, especially when it comes to sleep. So hopefully you get the help you need. Like I said, I would definitely seek out the psychiatric realm, as opposed to the neurologic realm in this case, for both those cases from the beginning. But hopefully you get help, and if there's any questions on what we talked about today or anything else in the sleep world, please leave them in the comment section down below. And thanks for everybody who interacted. Until next time, sleep well.